concept. I'm drinking my vegetable juice. And today's episode is about self confidence and self trust. Thank you all for tuning in to the Ed Talks Personal Growth and Motivation podcast. My name is Edward Giles, aka the Holistic Motivator. And today I want you to think about the last time you really confided in somebody, that you really trusted somebody, and they let you down. Okay, it's a beautiful morning, and you're like, "Yo, I don't want to think about this. I don't want to bring this." But we're doing this as an experiment, or maybe yet as a comparison. Think about sometime someone said, "I'm going to do this for you," and they let you down, and then you lost the trust in that person. How long did it take for you to get the trust back? Question number one. When you did start trusting them again, what did they have to do to earn your trust? Question number two. Question number three is, how much more did you share to them after that occurrence? After you supposedly forgave them, how much did you tell them after that? Did your enthusiasm to let them know about your business diminish? Think about that one. And that's those three questions I want you to think about. Why? Because the same way you have to rebuild the relationship with your friends is the same way you sometimes have to rebuild a relationship with yourself, to yourself, so that your self-confidence can improve. So just like you have to rebuild a relationship with other people, it also applies to you. You have to rebuild your relationship with yourself. So self confidence that's diminished is self trust lessened over time. So somebody asks me, what? We're talking about self trust. How do you trust yourself? Well, dependability was the first thing I talked about. When you're dealing with someone else, can you depend on them? Second is, can you confide in them? And then third is, am I willing to share with this person? Yesterday, I just came up with, well, I guess I didn't come up with it, but something came to me, and it got me thinking about this one thing. I was like, a lot of people wants to communicate to themselves, wants to express themselves to themselves. But by that, I mean, you want to be on the same page with you, but you don't know yourself. So how can you be on the same page with someone you're not familiar with? So how can you be on the same page with a stranger? How can you share with a stranger? So I say, find yourself before you lose yourself. I say, create yourself before someone else create their version of you. Find yourself before you lose yourself. Create yourself before someone else create their version of you. Either ways, people are creating like 1,000 different versions of you. If I was to ask you how many versions of you there are out there, you'd probably say one. If you were wise enough to yourself, you'd probably say I have 3 or 4 versions as it relates to me. When I'm at home, I'm away, I'm at work, I have a different version. So I have different personas. That's being truthful, right? Things about self-trust and self-confidence is about sharing the truth. Because you can share, you can talk, you could converse, but if it's not the truth, then gonna it's not really gonna resonate. So the truth will set you free. This truth will set you free from you. The truth will set you free from the limiting emotion. So as we think about self-trust, I want you to really think about a time you completely lost trust in yourself. A time where you completely lost trust in yourself. Because you say, what was a time I lost a lot of trust in myself? Consistent with my routine. One day I woke up and I realized that every 3 months I'm off my routine again. And then I'm like, what's up with me? Why every 3 months I'm off my routine? So in my conscious, I'm thinking, what am I doing wrong? Like why can't I stick to this consistently over time? And I'm like, can I trust myself to have this routine? Better yet, I'm gonna tell you what, dealing with my clients, I submitted their work late to them. And I was having one or two video clients. And I'm like, okay, this is okay. I have two or three clients now, and I still can't get the work done to them on time. This is my self-talk. We talked about self-talk. I said, I still can't get the work to them on time. I was like, can I even trust myself to handle hundreds of clients? So we don't necessarily ask ourselves that question, but I want you to, because you're asking it subconsciously, whether you know it or not. You're really asking yourself, can I trust myself? But you're not necessarily saying it like that. But the truth of the matter is, you're asking yourself that question. And one day, my answer was, I don't know. And when my answer was, I don't know, I realized that that was a big issue, because I realized that my self-confidence diminished because I wasn't able to trust myself to handle a occurrence of life, or handle my own, what I said I was going to do. I started losing trust in myself because I'm like, if I can't handle one or two clients, when I get hundreds, I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle them, or I'm going to be able to deliver. So let me not even try to get more clients. Now, did I think about that in my head? No, I didn't think about let me not get clients in my head. But in my subconscious mind, I am 100% sure that was my reality. In my conscious mind, I just went about my business. I'm like, I'm going to look for clients. But subconsciously, I lost trust in myself. So I didn't put as much things out there to get video clients, media clients, because I'm like, I'm bombarded with my own content, and I can't trust myself to deliver on time. And I don't know if I'm good enough. Those are the things that come with it, subconsciously now. Some people say, I never said that to myself. I never ever said that. Well, you didn't say it in your conscious mind, but now I'm bringing it to your conscious awareness. This is what Ed Talks Daily is about, bringing the simple things to your conscious awareness. So you lose self trust over time when you don't do, in a simple term, what you said you are going to do. Not just business, personal. It could be as simple as you say, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. and you wake up at 10 a.m. You're like, here we go again. I'm just the type of person that could never. So lack of self trust equals negative self talk. You're like, I can't depend on me. It's one thing for other people to say they can't depend on you, but it's a totally different thing when you tell yourself you can't depend on you. Now, that's next level pain, because you came on this planet by yourself. You're going to leave by yourself, and the way you live your life is up to you. And if you can't depend on yourself, who can you depend on? If you can't depend on the government, who can you depend on? If you can't depend on your job, who can you depend on? If you can't depend on your own abilities, who can you depend on? So self-confidence diminishes when we don't feel as if we can depend on our ability. That's one thing. Another one is when we feel like we're not good enough. And not good enough is all about the standards. Someone said there's no standard for your blood pressure or health specifically. There's no standard. There's only room for improvement. There's no standard. There's only room for improvement. Somebody says, I missed the mark. I sinned. Did you miss the mark? Did you really sin? Or did you just let these standards take over your mental conscious? You're like, I failed. Did you really fail? You didn't really fail. Because can you not try again? Someone said, well, I don't know if I can try again. In this opportunity, I don't know if I can try again. Well, there's going to be another opportunity for you to prove yourself to yourself. So we don't think we're good enough because we're comparing ourselves. We're not comparing to our potential. Comparing to potential says, I can improve. There's room for improvement. What if that's how it was in school? Your teacher didn't say, you failed the test, Mr. Holistic Motivator. Motivate yourself now to pass. The teacher does not say that. The teacher will say that, but the teacher is not going to say, oh, you got a 60%. Now you have 40% room to improve. We didn't grow up like that. Teachers never told you that you have a 40% room for improvement once you get a 60% on your test. They just said you failed. You suck. You just failed. You didn't do the FCAT right and you failed. And you're like, I failed? And ever since then, you've been comparing yourself to your peers. You may be a kinesthetic learner, which means you work better with your hands by doing. You may be an auditory learner. You learn mostly by listening. You may be I forgot the specific term, but you may learn better by writing. And some people are more creative. They say if you compare a fish to a bird, the fish is going to look stupid. You can't compare people from two different environments. By environments, it can also be you don't compare two people from two different in mental environments, which means my environment may be more deserted. Mine might be a rainforest. Yours can be an island, which means each of these different environments, you have to live in them in a different way and you have to use different skill sets to survive. But they say, well, let's just say you're all the same. And then you're like, I suck because I'm not like them. When we're comparing ourselves to other people and not to our potential or our talents, we are giving in to the systematic oppression of your possibilities by seeing yourself as less competent because you are judging yourself based on the metrics. So, the only way to improve our self confidence is to realize that the only competition we should be having is with our potential, with a great quality of life. Ever ask yourself the question, how would my life look like if I lived it at 100%? Your teacher never said, hey, Ed, how would your mind look like if you lived at percent? You never said, how would your gifts and talents be used for if you express them at 100%? Now, I see you're at 60%. I want you to choose that in the next 3 months, you're going to invest in yourself enough time so that you can utilize that time to improve 40%. And you're like, wow, I have 40% room for improvement. Some people are like, I'm super negative, I'm fat, I'm not good enough, I'm poor. I can't keep my word. I'm not consistent. I'm depressed and anxious all the time. I feel like I'm not competent. Comparing to who? Or you can just say, I'm learning. I'm learning how to be more healthy. I'm learning the lifestyle. It becomes a journey. Life becomes a journey when you're learning rather than stating. I say statements make noise, questions open up doors for answers. Statements make noise. Your statements can either yell at you, shout at you, or just state the facts, but questions open up a door to think for solutions. Statements just make noise, could yell at you, shout at you, make you feel less than good enough. Questions see, oh, look, where can you be? A great teacher makes less statements, but asks more questions. The more questions you ask, the more you will come to the product of your own conclusion. If I just tell you things, I have to take your word. You have to take my word for it. If I ask you a question and you answer it, you're going to take your word for it. So that's why we having a problem in our life. We feel less competent and confident. And we go to somebody, we're like, oh, tell me some positive words so I can feel better about myself. You know, tell me something positive. Let me listen to something motivational. I think what we need more is not any more statements, it's more reflection. It's more digging deep so that you can find the 40% room to improve by building your trust with yourself. So, quick recap, I'm talking about self confidence and how self trust is major in building your self confidence. Depending on yourself is what builds your self trust. Not being able to depend on you is feeling like you have no support. If you confide in someone, it's because you want their support. I'm going to confide my plans to you. I want you to tell me, how is this? Is this good enough? Do you think that this is needed in the marketplace? Do you think that this can add value? Do you think I can do it? And then you confide in this person and you tell them your idea. You're like, I have this great idea. Do you think it's good enough? Can I confide in you to not share it unless I tell you? And says your idea sucks. It's not needed. It's not good enough. You've never done anything like this. You really think you can do this? Oh, why don't you try something else? Oh, my friend did it one time and they failed. So I don't think you might want to get in that business. Well, you might not get enough protein from the vegetables. Juicing, juicing. What's that? It's disgusting. And I'm drinking it. It tastes amazing. They're like, don't do that. They're just crazy people. This is very mystical stuff there. This is from the devil. I've never heard of that before. Oh, they're doing some voodoo stuff. Everything that we don't know about becomes so mystical. And they're like, okay, don't do it. That's what somebody else, you confide in them, you trust them, and you tell them this, and they tell you all of these negative things. And you're like, why did I even come to you? I would have been better off not coming. And then you go to yourself. You're like, hey, Ed, I was thinking about a holistic health marketplace, and I think this is a great, great idea. And if I really put into work, I can create the holistic marketplace for real, especially because I'm doing it right now. And then Ed says, really, Ed? You're the holistic motivator. Yeah, right. You're going to make the holistic marketplace. You came from a country in Haiti and in the mountains. Look at the house you were born in. You almost died when you was a kid. You couldn't speak till you were like 4. You're incompetent. You can't do this. You're a black guy. How are you supposed to run something so big? You're gonna be a target. You're You can't depend on yourself. Look, you can't even run a personal training business. Oh, your personal training business failed, didn't it? You slept in your car, didn't you? You really think you can do this? And I'm like, Ed, that's why I can do this, because I'm resilient, right? Because that's why I can do this, because I have a story. I can do this because I'm a testimony. That's why I can do this, because yeah, I did start a personal training business and it didn't fail. I just had a room for improvement to convert it to a holistic marketplace. Then I'm like, yeah, I sure can. Maybe not immediately, maybe not right now, but eventually I can. And you're like, wow, that is amazing. I can do it. I can do it. So, to build your self trust, it's almost like a reaffirmation in your own abilities. It's almost like you have to look back and tell yourself the truth of the matter and not lie in the matter of all the opinions that all other people have of you. The truth of the matter is you're a spirit who lives in a body and possesses a soul. And with the spirit of creation and with your own thoughts, you can create your own life. Someone says, I think, therefore I am. I love that person who said, I think, therefore I am. I think, therefore I am. So what I think is what I will be. So let me make sure I guard my thoughts. Let me guard my mental garden, because we don't want no serpents in there. All right. So we talked about self trust, self confidence, and depending on you. Sometimes you can't depend on anyone else but you. But if you're going to do that, we're going to have to start knowing ourselves. Let's go back when I said you talk to your friend and you ask them for advice because you trusted them and you know them. Would you trust a stranger with your $1 billion idea? Maybe. Would you trust your stranger with a very close detail about you? Maybe, maybe not. I've seen some people do it. To me, in fact, they just tell me. I was like, oh, that's interesting. But would you trust a stranger? Maybe not. What if you're a stranger to yourself? Would you trust you to do it? Would you trust you? Would you communicate with you enough? Would you feel comfortable talking to yourself? Someone said, I gotta distract myself with something. I can't just sit here and do nothing. I can't just sit here and do nothing with me. That's pretty boring. You ever been in a room with somebody and multiple people and 3 people left and you had one person left and you're like, whoa, I gotta sit in this room with this person. They're gonna try to talk to me. They're gonna try to bring up the past. Oh, make me feel bad about myself. They're gonna try to do this and that. I don't want to deal with it. They're gonna try to impose their thing on me. I don't want to deal with them. We do the same thing to ourselves, believe it or not. We're like, man, hey, here you go again with your thoughts. I gotta see you again. I gotta face all the things you did. Let me go sit with you again. If we feel like that for ourselves, it's just, how can we possibly live? Then we always have to look something outside of us to make us about ourselves, because we don't feel safe, we don't feel warm, we don't feel sexy, and we don't like ourselves. Our immune system, our limbic system is off balance. So we try to get a candy, a gum, something to drink, something to smoke, something to watch, someone to be with, someone to be alongside with and not necessarily be with. And we're just trying to find something outside of us. They say, okay, I get it. This is true. This is true. But how do I improve? How do I increase my self confidence and trust myself more? Take baby steps. If somebody came back into your life, like you started dating an ex wife or ex husband, all of a sudden, this ex husband come to you or ex wife come to you and say, I want to be with you again, baby. You are the love of my life. And I want to satisfy you for the rest of your life. I am so sorry that I've acted this way. And I want you to be with me forever. We could live happily ever after. And you're like, all right, you give in, you start blushing, and you're like, okay, but let's take it slow. You do that if you're in a relationship. You're in a relationship with you, so you got to do it for yourself. Let's take it a slow step at a time. Let me prove myself to myself. Let me do one thing inside of me. Let me do one thing good for me. Hey, let me make a vegetable juice: beets, celery, ginger, turmeric, and beets, celery, ginger, turmeric, and carrots. Let me make something good for myself. So prove yourself, baby. Make me some good breakfast. Prove yourself, baby. Take me to the gym. Prove yourself, baby. Make some money. Prove yourself to me. Those are all outside things. But let's go inside. Prove yourself, baby. Let's talk. Prove yourself to me. Let me prove how much trust that we have. Prove that this bond is strong. Let's prove myself to you. So when you're doing that, you got to spend time. So to prove you to you got to start spending time with yourself. You know, I said, baby, we're going to have a fun time tonight. Let's go somewhere and you get distracted, I get distracted, and let's just have fun. You don't hang out with somebody and they get distracted, you get distracted, and you're in tune. You got to be attracted. So you can't have two distracted people connected. Distracted people are just like, oh, what's that? Oh, what's that? Oh. But a connected people have to be attracted. So they got to be together in tune, intertwined. So when you're with yourself, you must intertwine inside and out, mind, spirit, and soul. I want to say, okay, where do I start? Well, start by breathing 20 minutes twice a day. Damn, my Instagram just shut off. Try breathing 20 minutes twice a day. Even if you don't know how to do that, I'm going to start showing you how to take a deep breath. Try breathing 20 minutes twice a day. And second is breathe to connect, read to explore, breathe to connect, and read to explore. Breathe so you can connect with you. Breathe so you can connect with you. Read so you can explore what's out there for you. Breathe so you can connect with you, and read so you can see what's out there for you. Breathe so you can connect and read to explore. Breathe and read. We don't just read books. We read people, things, we read circumstances, read nature, read happenings, read things. You could read these things. You're like, how do I read these things, Ed? When you read, what do? You look, you focus, and you think of the meaning. I'm looking at the trees. I'm focusing, and wow, look how the trees are. That's so powerful. You gotta improve. You have to grow to that level to be able to say, wow, the meaning of life is just to be like these trees. So you breathe and you read. So what does that mean? You're being in tune with yourself and in spirit. with nature, inspired by things outside, in tune by things inside. Tune in so you could be in spirit with the Most High. Tune in so you can be in spirit with the Most High. You have to tune in so you can be in spirit with the Most High. And the way we tune in is to lessen the noise, less statements, more questions. Statements create noises, questions open up doors. Statements could be a door closed. A question is the door opened. You want to make a statement? Close the door in somebody's face. I don't want you. You want to invite somebody in? Open the door. So if you've been a stranger to yourself, lack of self-confidence, lack of self-trust, open the door. Open the door and close the door on those limiting thoughts and words. That's my message, and I'm sticking to it. I want to give a shout out to a couple of people who have inspired me to do what I do today. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Dr. George Love, he's my mentor and I'm also his mentee. I help him with content and he blesses me with wisdom and a lifestyle. Before that, I want to thank God for blessing me with these downloads. I want to thank my father and mother for making me. I want to thank Les Brown and Eric Thomas for inspiring me to start to be a motivational speaker, to transition from just being a personal trainer to a motivational speaker. So I think those are the three most influential people. It has been Les Brown, Eric Thomas, Dr. Chi Love, with God being on top of that. And then those are like some of the three mentors. And Jim Rohn has helped me put my words together in a fashion that is both intellectual, that is both philosophical, yet practical, and paints an image in your mind. Have I not listened to these people? My style today be like it is. So I want to give a shout out to them. I want to give a shout out to you for watching, because without you, there's no reason why I should be doing this. So shout out to you. And lastly, I want to give a shout in to my spirit, which is always looking to come out. And that's my reminder for you, is that you're trying to come outside of you. You're trying to break your shell and you're trying to conquer the whole world. You're trying to come outside of you, trying to break your shell and conquer the whole world because you're a spirit who lives in the body and possesses a soul. But you got to trust yourself that when you come out, that it's going to be good and not a beast. You know, don't be afraid of what's going to happen when your true self comes out. Second, don't compare what comes out of you versus what's outside, what's out there. Don't compare that, because the only metric you set for yourself is the potential that you can reach. Third, be in tune with your present and realize that your presence is a present to yourself and the world if you present it well to yourself and others. What that means is we must understand that we have to love ourselves enough to want to be in our own presence so we can share what we need to share with ourselves. That way we could move forward. We could be on the same page. And if you lack self-trust and self-confidence, start by building it little steps at a time. Small habits, small steps builds up confidence, because you could confide that you will get the job done. But do small steps of confident of confiding in action. But first, believe that this is not just all shenanigans. None of it is. Don't believe it's not just some other motivational video, and use it for you. And believe that you have the power within you to express yourself, achieve more, and be more than what you think you are. Explore the other 30%. If you're at 70 now, you have 30% room for improvement. If you're at 80, you have 20% room for improvement. There's no failure. It's just room for improvement. Someone said, that's BS. You can fail. You can fail. If you accept it, then whatever you accept, it's yours. I can send a gift to you and say, you got to sign it to receive it. If you don't sign it, you lose it. Likewise, the creator has set up that just like that for you. He's like, hey, I like these humans here. I'm going to give this gift to you, this gift to you, this gift. The real Santa Claus is the creator. I'm going to send you this gift and give you that gift. But make sure you sign for it. Make sure you acknowledge it and sign for it. You're like, maybe I'll sign for it, but I might sign for it, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to really take care of this and do what you said to do with it. So I don't know if I can really handle all of this responsibility. So I don't know if I'm gonna sign for it. Can I sign for it later? And the creator said, okay, cool. You can sign for it later. I'm gonna leave it on the porch. And whenever you're ready, call me back and I'll sign it. And it started raining on it. And next thing you know, your gift is gone. And you're like, hey, God, hey, creator, well, why didn't you give me any gifts? I'm comparing myself to him. He could sing, he could dance, and he's a speaker. And look, they're prospering. Why didn't you give me a gift? Creator said, I already gave you one, but check outside your door. And you're like, it's gone now. Creator says, I am so sorry. I forgot to tell you when I arrived to your house that whatever you don't use, you lose. You're like, why didn't you tell me that before? I wish I would have known that. Well, I gave you a gift and you didn't even show enough enthusiasm to take it from me. Why should I even bother telling you that you're going to lose it? I'm the gift giver, I'm the gift maintainer. I gave you the gift of the world. You got to maintain it yourself. And you're like, okay, creator, I'm going to go work again. I'm going to go work on myself and maybe you'll come back with the gift. And that's what you got to do. Go work on yourself. And eventually, I do believe the gift will come back around. But you got to believe it to receive it. That's my message. And I'm sticking to it. It's the Holistic Motivator. Wishing you a great rest of your day. Let your light shine. Don't hide it. Don't dim it. Comment, share, like this post. Every day, 10 a.m., we got a podcast for you. And if you want to listen to the replay on your podcast app, go to any podcast app and type in Ed Talks Daily, Personal Growth and Motivation Podcast. Subscribe, and you'll get these episodes every single day for self-exploration and inspiration. It's the Holistic Motivator. Tuning out. Peace. YouTube. Peace. What's up? Yellow.